Hi, my name is Joanna Clyer, and welcome to Your Voice, Your Story, Your Legacy. On today's show, I have my beautiful and talented daughter, Mira Lauren. I also have Ellie Hilomen. She's the vice president and founder of the House of Helping Hands. She helps domestic violence survivors with job training and job placement. I also have Sid Cowley. I met him through Les Brown's Power Voice system, where we're changing the world with our stories. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi all! So this is a song called Reality. I wrote it 9/13/19. It's about feeling like you're in a reality and wanting to change it because everybody's got their own reality and sometimes you're not happy with it, so you want to change it. This is this song about that. Sometimes I remember every detail of a little thing, and all the memories combine to make the myriad of me. But other times the cracks between the pixels expand and get out of hand, and all I see is blurred behind a new reality. I don't feel like I appreciated my childhood. I had everything I wanted, but I wasn't understood. I'm older now, my friends are moving on, and I am stuck loving little things and missing them. The tears begin to blur reality. I've spent so much time judging myself more than anyone. I am honest with the world, but hardly on my own. I'm over it. I'm acting on the things I wish and finding some kind of bliss outside of this mediocre joke reality. I finally couldn't give a shit what people think of me. I only care that they treat everybody properly. All my life I've taken what the world has said, then taken it for granted. I now regret wasting time on dreamt reality. Wasting time on dreamt reality. I wanna find a new reality. If you want to listen to it again in a different style, you can find it on my album Close to Me, which you can find on my website, which is in my bio. Bye.
All right, this is Sid Owsley from the Determination Determines Destination podcast, where we share stories of the 3Ds: determination, determines destination, and how people use the 3Ds to success to overcome obstacles and challenges in their life. And today I have with me on the show Miss Joanna Clyer. Joanna is a proud resident of Duarte, California, the city of hope. She says, I'm a human first, a mother, a wife, friend, transformation life coach who always gives people hope, from victim to champion, and last but not least, mama and daddy's gracious gift from God. How are you today, Joanna?
I'm doing awesome. It's so great to be here with you. Thank you so much, Sid, for having us and me. There's many of us.
It's really great to have you on, Joanna. So tell us your story about how you use what I call the 3Ds to success. Determination determines destination in your life to overcome obstacle challenges in your life and help other people.
I'm going to start off by saying I want to thank everybody that's done the work on themselves in previous generations, because if they didn't do the work on themselves and make changes in their life, then they wouldn't be able to move forward with their future.
Right.
I want to thank, first and foremost, I want to thank my dad, Bobby Ray, and then my mom, Rita Bricker. They had been through a lot in their lifetime. They were post World War II babies. Mm-hmm. And my dad suffered a lot of trauma as a child. Wow. With alcoholism and domestic violence. I don't know all the story, but it seems to me that there's a lot of people hurting out there that have experienced domestic violence. Mm-hmm. And so I want to thank them for recognizing what their problem was and removing my father from the house for a period of time, mm-hmm. and him coming back in and working on themselves. My mother went to Al-Anon. Al-Anon is for people who have a relationship with somebody who's drinking or abusing, and it gives them the 12-step tools on how to do that. Also, I want to just thank them for having the courage, the determination to push through everything that has been a struggle for them in their life. Yeah. My dad died in 1998 of cancer, and I was the baby of 5 children. I lived at home till I was 25, and I was able to talk to my dad in the kitchen while he was sick and dying and hear his pain. Wow. And hear his story of what he did wrong and him coming to terms with it, being an acceptance of it, and sobbing and crying with me in the kitchen, sharing the lowest of lows and how bad he felt about doing bad things to people. Yeah. He was only doing bad things because he watched those bad things being done to him. Mm-hmm. He watched those things being done to his mother, and he was a veteran, and then he went to war for Vietnam and Korea for 13 and a half years. Wow. So he saw a lot of trauma after the Great Depression, during the wars. And so he was a victim of circumstance, but he was a true champion towards the end of his life, as well as my mother. My mother died in 2018 in my care, and they were my heroes in the end. Looking back, they had determination, they had courage. They lost my oldest brother at age 7. Wow. And the only reason why they survived that was their faith in God. Their belief system at the time was that they were going to see him again in the resurrection. Not everybody believes this. I'm not necessarily sure if I do, but I don't care, because God is source, universe, love, and peace. And they found that in their life. And so another thing I want to say is, if anybody out there struggling with domestic violence, there are tools and places to go and sources to reach out to. I've joined up with the House of Hope, and they take donations to help women, children, and men come out of domestic violence. And they've invited me to be a part of the board, and I'm really excited about it, because that is my why, and that is why I'm here, and that is my destination, to help people get out of bad situations and find peace and love and joy within themselves. So that's pretty much my story.
That's great. And it's so great that you found your why. That's so important for us to recognize our why, because that really helps us to flow better in life. It makes things easier, and it helps us to help other people. So that's great that you were able to find your why.
Yeah, I don't want to sit in what my parents did wrong or what I did wrong or my past. Mm-hmm. I really would like to let people know that their past does not define them. It makes them who they are. I heard this morning from Danette May when I was doing my coaching session with her Facebook group that there are no failures. There are no failures at all. There are just bottoms, and there are learning. And then there's good that you can take from the bad. While you're in the bad, you don't see it. But when you've come out from the bad to the good, to who you are supposed to be, who you're supposed to help in the world, first yourself, you have to help yourself first. And you don't have to stay in the past, and you don't have to stay in the pain. The pain is just like birthing a child. Birthing a child. You have labor pains, but then in the end, you have a beautiful child, a beautiful creation. And that's what we are. We're beautiful creations. We are born perfect. And it's the world around us that creates the discontentedness and the stress. But we're not defined by that. When I had a breakdown in 2014 with addiction, and I literally wanted to run my car into the median, I got a vision. The devil, the demons of my past wanted to take over me and my brain. And it literally, I got a vision of me wanting to run my car, and it scared me, because at that point I realized, you know what? I want to live. I have children, I have a husband, I have a house, I have a job, I have family that count on me to be there for them. And when you hit a bottom, Les Brown says, fall on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up.
Yeah.
And then shoot for the stars, because once you land among them, you just become this beautiful star of your own. We are a star in the world, and we have a lot to give to the world. And me helping victims is the most rewarding experience I could ever give to the world. And I want to be the face. I want to be the name. When people say domestic violence as a hero, I want them to see my name, Joanna Clyer. I'm going to leave a legacy of hope and peace and love for each person's self and what they can find in their own why. And I'm going to help them through meditation, which I learned through Danette May's program. I'm going to do meditation, motivation, visualization to help them picture what their life could be like and will be like. They just have to have the destination they want to go to achieve their determination that they need, the courage they need, and I want to give that to them. I have worked through my stuff, my muck, the mud, and I'm on the other side of that wall that most people run into, that I've run into. And so my gift to the world is continually every day working on myself, mastering myself, loving myself in every dimension of myself. And I didn't get this from myself. I got this from leaders, thought leaders, people that are in healing, people that help themselves so that they can be the best version of themselves. Jack Canfield, Lisa Nichols, Les Brown, and my newest friend that I'm helping right now, David Markoff. Everybody needs to understand that they have a gift, that they are loved, that they need to leave a legacy for our children, our children's children. And my father told me in the kitchen, if I can make it better for my kids than I had it, I'm doing all right. He wrote all of my siblings letters apologizing to them about what he did to them. And my parents, through help, Al-Anon, counseling, they found freedom and peace at the end of their lives. My dad died at 64. My mom died at 78. Unfortunately, my dad's life was cut off too soon because of cancer, but I have been given the torch. I have been given the torch to further this movement of peace, love, joy for yourself. Loving yourself is not bad. Yeah. Loving yourself is the key to your success. Listen to yourself. Listen to your heart. Listen to your intuition, and you will have the courage when you listen. I've been told it's God or source energy talking to you. Listen. When you meditate or pray, it's you talking to God. When you visualize, it's visualizing your future and what you want it to be. It's dreaming. It's imagination. When you're under a lot of stress, all that is blocked off. I learned that in recovery. I learned that when I was at my bottom in 2014. I learned that the stresses will kill you. It'll cause disease of the mind, the body, and the spirit.
Yeah.
And that's what I experienced. And through my experience and my strength and my hope with my story, I can help as many people as I can in the world. And in order to do that, we have to go bigger and bigger and bigger. And so I'm going to go through the media. I am claiming to the world that I will be the change and I will help with the change. And that I'm excited about. I'm going to start a future, future ways where I can channel my energies and my passion. And so I'm so grateful today. I wake up every day now with a sense of peace, love, joy, energy, and focus that I've never had before. And it's just day by day, one day at a time, one moment at a time. And then I've learned to calm myself with prayer meditation. And I want you guys to try it on. You can find me on Joanna Bricker Claire on Facebook. I have a subcategory, Your Voice, Your Story, Your Legacy. And I want to give a shout out to John Tallarico, a shout out to Les Brown, a shout out to Lisa Nichols, a shout out to Jack Canfield. His book is called, How to Be Successful, The Success Principles. I want to thank Napoleon Hill. I want to thank Carnegie and the successful people because they have to find who I'm going to be through their legacy that they leave. And that's what I want people to have. Hello, my name is Joanna Claire, and I'm so glad you could join me and Ellie Hilomen today. I want to introduce her. She's an awesome advocate for victims' rights. She's an awesome person that is going to help millions of people leave domestic violence situations. So I'd like to introduce you to Ellie. Hi, Ellie. How are you doing today?
Good. Hello, everyone. How are you?
Everything is good. I'm so glad you could join me today. I wanted to start by saying that I'm really glad you're here. I'm glad we can work together and make sure that a lot of victims get help out there, help with the removal of themselves and guide them to become independent again. And I'm so excited about that. Can you tell me a little bit about your story?
Well, I was abused in 2009, and it took me 3 years to get out of that relationship because I was financially dependent on him. And it took me another 7 years to be able to talk about it. I had to self-soothe and did not really undergo any official or professional therapy programs. So, when I was finally able to talk about this horrible experience, I decided to do something out of it. And I wanted to be able to help as much as I can to people who have experienced the same. And that is where House of Helping Hands came in.
That's awesome. And let me know a little bit more about the services that you're going to provide for the victims.
Mm-hmm. So, with House of Helping Hands, since our number one reason for not being able to leave the abusive situation is because of financial dependency, we are providing skills training with guaranteed job placement so that our victims can break free and build their new lives.
That's awesome. So what's your plan for 2021? Like your biggest plan?
Mm-hmm. For 2021, we would like to expand. So aside from providing skills training, providing them jobs, providing therapy, we would also want to be able to establish safe houses so that these victims would have a safe place where they can run into, and we would be able to help them as they go along the way to their transformation.
Now, in your organization, do you have doctors that help them with the therapies?
Yes, we have 2 full-time licensed mental health professionals who are able to help them. And we also have numerous advocates who are providing coaching, training, and just merely anything about self-help and self-loving. So
That's awesome. It's so nice to know that there's going to be help out there for all the victims. The next question I want to ask you is, at what point you decide to leave
um
your relationship?
I decided to leave actually when I wasn't able to, like, even buy the basic things for myself. I had to ask money from him, and that was the time where I said, okay, enough is enough. So I did everything I can to be able to get out of that situation after that.
I'm so glad to hear that, because there's a lot of women out there, or men, or, struggling right now, especially with COVID going on. I know that the domestic violence rate has gone up since COVID has started because people are spending more time at home with their family members. There's a lot of silence that's going on. When you were having trouble, it's really hard to know what your voice is. It's really hard to even pinpoint what's going on. And so when you decided to leave, that was the most amazing, but the hardest thing that a person could ever even do. I'm really proud to know that you did that and that you were able to come out of that. So as soon
Thank
as
you.
you found your story, I mean, as soon as you found your voice about that, um, who were there to help you come out of it originally? Who did you reach out to?
No one. After that 3 years, I had no one.
Wow.
Yeah,
And of
I did it
course with
all
that,
by myself.
and now with that House of Helping Hands, you can provide services because you know what it's like to be alone.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, being alone is a very, very hard place. I know that I've been alone in my life here and there. And when I hit the bottom, it was really, really tough. When you were at your bottom, I'm sure that was pretty hard and difficult. But you rose up and you gathered enough strength within yourself to come out of that, and I'm very happy for you.
Thank you.
What is the biggest obstacle? What was the biggest obstacle for you, so that our viewers can understand what they need to do to get out of their current situation? What would you say the first step should be for them?
First step is to accept that they are never going to change, because I was in and out of the relationship thinking that he would change. He loves me very much. We can make it better. This is just a rough patch or something. He was just drunk. You know, those kinds of excuses for me to always go back in that relationship. And then it all happens again.
Right, the cycle just repeats itself. Now, in order to change the cycle, we have to change our choices. And it's very important for our listeners to understand that they do have choices. At what point did you realize when you had a choice in all this to leave?
Um, at what point? Good question. Well, I always knew I had a choice. I just didn't want to make a choice. Like, he was my, I would say, comfort zone. Like, because when he is not being abusive, it was heaven. So, yeah.
Right, and it's confusing because you have life to live. You have a job, or in your case or my case, we have children, and the children are our reason for getting out. I know there's a lot of women and men with children, and they don't realize that it's more difficult to stay. It takes just as much energy to stay than it does to leave. The one thing
Exactly.
that I realize, so yeah, the one thing I realize as a person that has been victimized before, is that it's really hard to know what to do. There's a lot of fear involved. Do you agree with me on that one?
100%.
Now, as far as getting the resources needed. There's help out there. There's helping hands as what you're doing. And it looks like you guys are going to do a great job providing services for the victims of domestic violence.
Yes, we are.
Yes, and are you going to provide the ability for them to work and have the tools necessary to leave and become self-reliant and independent?
Yes, that is our plan. We are going to provide everything from safe houses. And as I've mentioned, we are already doing the skills training so they can be financially independent from their abusers.
That's awesome. Now, how can we donate to your nonprofit?
There are various ways. You can text Stop Violence at 44321, or you can also go to PayPal, and we are there, House of Helping Hands, PayPal, donate at houseofhelpinghands.org. You can also go to our website, www.houseofhelpinghands.org, and click the donate button.
All right. Well, I truly appreciate you joining me on this interview. I want to thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to seeing all that you guys are going to do for the victims of domestic violence, and I'm looking very forward to that.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. You take care, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me in my show, Your Voice, Your Story, Your Legacy. It's an awesome platform where you can find your voice, where you can share your beautiful story, and where you can leave a legacy that you are proud of. Les Brown says the cemetery is a very expensive place because that's where dreams die. Don't let your dreams die with you. Live life to the fullest. Love passionately and give freely. Till next time.